Okay, we're going to start our Facebook Live in just a few minutes. We're just going to give everyone a few more minutes to tune in, and then we'll get started. Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live. My name is Mallory. I'm a primate keeper here at the Houston Zoo, and today we're here to talk about our orangutans. It is Orangutan Caring Week, so we're going to be talking about them, and I have our other primate keeper, Cheka, here. She's going to be helping me feed the orangutans some treats. So right here we've got Cheyenne. She is our oldest orangutan. She is one of the oldest females in the world, one of the oldest females in North America, and she is 49 years old. And right now, Cheka is just feeding her some grapes. We have our little treat chute over, and it's basically just a little PVC tube that runs out the other side, so Cheyenne can grab some treats. And we're seeing Aurora, our youngster, is coming over and making an appearance. She is 10 years old. So Aurora and Cheyenne are mother and daughter. So they're just grabbing the grapes, and grapes are the perfect food to roll down this treat chute. Sometimes we feed peanuts over here. We do training sessions. And sometimes we even do guest encounters. That's something that you guys can purchase here at the zoo. If you are interested in coming to meet our orangutans up close, you can actually come and feed them through this treat chute. So if you like what you see, go check out our website for that. So again, just to repeat, we've got Cheyenne and Aurora, two of our orangutans out here. Cheyenne, who is 49, and Aurora, who is 10. So Cheyenne is not actually Aurora's biological mom. Kelly, one of our other orangutans, is Aurora's biological mom, but Kelly actually was not able to raise her, and we were able to give Cheyenne Aurora successfully. And Cheyenne has fostered 4 different orangutans, and from the get-go, they were very, very close. We actually had to raise Aurora with a support staff of keepers for about 9 months, and then we were able to give Cheyenne Aurora as a baby, and they have lived together since then, and they're such a cute pair, and they wrestle all the time, and they have lots of fun. Okay, so now that you guys have seen our treat chute, we're actually going to make our way over to our other side of the orangutan exhibit. That will be our moat viewing, and we're going to do a food toss for Cheyenne and Aurora. So we're going to start to make our way over that way. And so we do have some treats we'll be feeding them. We've got some ice pops, we've got some enrichment, and we've got some other foods that we'll throw them. And you'll get to see Aurora and Cheyenne up close. We do have 2 other orangutans who are not out right now. You saw them in our last Facebook Live. That was Rudy and Kelly. Rudy is the oldest male in North America. He is 43 years old, and Kelly is 41. So they are not out right now. Orangutans are naturally solitary in the wild, so typically they do not come together unless it's a male and a female coming together for breeding or when a mom raises her young. So that's why you see Cheyenne and Aurora together. Typically, young orangutans will live with their mothers for about 10 years. So orangutans actually have the longest interbirth interval of any mammal. So they only give birth to an infant about every 7 years or so. And they raise their infant until they are fully weaned and fully able to find food on their own. And these youngsters learn everything from their moms. Their moms teach them how to forage for food, how to build nests at night, how to climb. So Aurora learned all of that from Cheyenne. You can see Aurora's doing great examples of her acrobatic skills right there. So what Cheka just threw to Aurora and Cheyenne, that is an example of enrichment. So what we did is we packed some food inside a PVC tube. It's a smear basically with oatmeal or Kool-Aid or any fun thing that we will put inside, and we just tape the edges shut, and they have to figure out how to get the food out. So basically anything that is stimulating, encourages their natural foraging behaviors, that's a good example of enrichment. So this is just one example of enrichment. You see Cheyenne and Aurora went and got those PVC tubes, and they're gonna go get their food out. So as you see, Aurora is pretty much up high. Whenever you see her at the zoo, she's up high most of the time, and that is totally normal for orangutans. So they are the heaviest tree-dwelling species. So they spend most of their time up in the trees, and they rarely come to the ground. Their bodies are perfectly adapted for climbing and swinging through the trees. If you'll notice, they have super long arms. So their arms are about 1.5 times as long as their legs. And they have really long fingers as well. And their feet basically look like their hands. So they can grab with their hands, they can grab with their feet, and they climb, and they're perfectly adapted for spending most of their time up in the trees. And they will actually make nests every night out of hay or paper or, trees, branches, anything. So we give them a lot of different items like that to make their nests here at the zoo. So Dominic asks, they blow raspberries? That's a very good question. So they do, actually. So orangutans are pretty quiet for a great ape, but they do make certain vocalizations, and one of those is something called a raspberry. And they would do that if they're trying to get our attention, or if they're playing, they'll make that noise. It's kind of like, sounds like a raspberry. They're blowing air out their they'll do that if they're asking for food. One of the noises they make. Another one is called a long call, and that's something that Rudy, our male, does. So it's basically this really loud vocalization, and he yells out, and basically it's to show other females where he is. If they want to meet up with him, he projects that long call, and they know where he is. And it also tells other males that this is his territory. So he has, as you saw from last time, he has these big cheek pads which kind of work as a megaphone to help project his long call. And he has an as well, which kind of works to help project the long call. So those are just a few of the noises that orangutans make. So a lot of times we get asked, what do they eat? So in the wild, about 60% of the orangutan's diet is fruit. If fruit is scarce, they will eat other things like leaves, soil. Sometimes they'll eat ants, termites, eggs. So mainly it's fruit. So we try to supplement them here. We have a wonderful animal nutrition department which provides them all their food. They get a different type of fruit and vegetable every day here at the zoo. And just like humans, they can be picky about certain things, and they have their favorites. So Rudy is our notorious picky eater. He basically doesn't like anything green. He does not like broccoli or peas. So I'm sure you guys can relate to that in some ways. So They also get leafy greens like romaine or cabbage or kale, and they'll get something called a primate biscuit, which just basically supplies all their nutrients. And then they'll also get some fun items like sunflower seeds or raisins or popcorn, and that's one of their favorites. So let's talk now about how we can save them in the wild. Since it is Orangutan Caring Week, that is a whole week devoted just towards inspiring action to care about orangutans and discussing the challenges that they face in the wild. So unfortunately, orangutans are critically endangered. Their numbers have drastically reduced over the past 20 years due to illegal logging and poaching and just in general deforestation in their homelands. They are from Southeast Asia, so the islands of Borneo and Sumatra, that is where they live. And unfortunately, a lot of their homes are getting cut down. So one way you can help save them in the wild is just by making sure you are a mindful consumer. Look at what you're buying and just make sure that the products that you buy are sustainably sourced, especially if they contain palm oil, just checking to see that it's sustainable. And another way is to just kind of reduce what you use. Trying to go paperless or trying to use recycled content will really help them. And then just by being here at the zoo, you guys are helping save them in the wild, and purchasing a ticket. A bunch of the proceeds will go towards our partner organizations over in Borneo, and there's a group of women and men who actually build bridges for orangutans to travel through fragmented corridors, so they can it actually prevents orangutan populations from being fragmented. So just by being here, you guys are helping. And if you are interested in contributing more towards orangutans, you can also go look at our orangutan encounters, and you can also go look online and purchase our animal arts. So if you are interested in buying an orangutan painting, if you need to do some holiday shopping, you can look at that, and a percentage of your proceeds will go towards helping orangutans in the wild. Herbert asks, how strong are they? So that's another great question. So orangutans are very strong. When fully grown, they can be between 5 to 7 times as strong as an adult male human. So there you can see, as I said, their arms are very long and they have very dense muscles. So they can actually hang up high for hours. Aurora loves to hang upside down with her feet, basically like a bat, and she can hold that for hours. So they're very, very strong. Another question we get asked a lot is, do they swim? Well, because they are so strong, they are not buoyant in water because their muscles are so dense. So that is one reason we're able to have this water around their habitat, so they can have some open sky. And if you look in the water, you also may see some turtles swimming around. So we have 4 species of turtles in this exhibit. We have the fly river turtles, we have the painted terrapin turtles, we have the Malaysian giant turtles, and we have the yellow-headed temple turtles. So in total, there's about 25 turtles, and most of these, well, actually all of these turtles are endangered as well, particularly the painted river turtle. And just a couple months ago, we were actually able to successfully hatch 4 baby painted river terrapin turtles, which was a big success for the zoo since they are so endangered. So you guys can see they're still working on their enrichment over there. Cheka's also got some banana pieces that she's been throwing them. So you can see Cheyenne is picking up those bananas. I'd say bananas is one of their favorite fruits. They really like the sweet stuff. They like strawberries and grapes and bananas. And you see Cheyenne sticking out her hand there. That just means that she's asking for more. Priscilla asks, what time are orangutans usually out? So the zoo is open currently from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then we have our zoo lights. But our orangutans are out usually the whole time. So we will usually rotate which group is outside. So right now Cheyenne and Aurora are out, but later today you might see Rudy and Kelly. So we don't ever put all 4 together, but it's usually Cheyenne and Aurora together and Rudy and Kelly together. So they should be out all day, although we do give them a choice to, if they don't want to come out that day, if it's rainy or if it's too hot. They don't always love to be outside, but today, days like this, where it's perfectly cool and sunny, they love to be outside. So now we are throwing them what's called an ice pop. And so that's basically just diluted juice. Diluted juice, and we freeze some peanuts or we freeze grapes. So today we've got orange peels frozen in there, and they did land in the water, but they actually will wade in and get those pops out later. Even though they don't swim, they do wade into the water to grab their stuff. So they'll go get those later. And whenever they get them, you'll see that they smash them open to try to get the goodies out, or they'll just lick up all the juice. So pops are something that we use throughout the day at the Houston Zoo, especially when it's hot, to help keep them cool. That is a good question. So I had a guest just ask, do I know the exact population? So I don't know specific numbers, but I know that now, since orangutans have unfortunately declined in numbers, that they are about fewer than 100,000 orangutans in the wild. And so if their rates continue to decline as they are currently, they could be extinct within 10 to 20 years in the wild. So that's why it's really important that we help them. And since it's Orangutan Caring Week, it's a great time now to if you're interested in orangutans, to go research how you can help them. And it's really important that we care about saving them in the wild. So our orangutans, just like our humans, they all have very different personalities. Aurora since she's our youngster, she's our very playful one. She loves to swing, she loves to play. There you go, Cheyenne got her pop. So she loves to play. She loves to play with bubbles. She loves to play with water. She's a lot of time splashing in water. She has a lot of fun. We try to give them tons of fun enrichment items. And I would say things like bubbles, and we give them brushes, and they'll actually help us. They like to scrub and play in the soap. And we give them chalk. They like to do drawings. And as I mentioned, they like to paint. So you can purchase their paintings up at the art store if you are interested. All right, guys, so we are wrapping up. So I just want to say thank you again for joining us. And if you want to see another Facebook Live, make sure you tune in again the first week of December for our next Facebook Live. Cheyenne and Aurora really appreciate you guys being here. So thanks for joining us.